Cheaters are cheating and no one is happy about it. That's the big story in the world of Counter-Strike, and today we'll talk about that, League of Legends coaches, and one very questionable tweet. I'm John Reisinger, and with me as always are Meg Turney and the Daily Dot's Jared Wynne. Hello everybody.
Hello.
Here's what you need to know. Fans of Counter-Strike were hit with some very big news last week as two top professional players were banned from the game for cheating. French players Havik Khalid Tovmassian of Titan and Gordon SF Geary of Epsilon were handed the bans. Both Titan and Epsilon were scheduled to take part in this week's DreamHack winner competition with $250,000 on the line, but have since been disqualified.
Those teams were replaced by two winners of an emergency qualifier organized by DreamHack and Valve. The bans have players and fans alike pointing fingers and wondering who might be next, and not even the world's best teams are safe from the accusations. Jared, why would two of the best players in the world tweet and cheat?
Why would they tweet?
Why would they tweet?
They tweet to engage their fans. It's like
why would they cheat? I'm sorry.
Well, they cheat because there's a lot of money at stake. You know, this tournament has $250,000 at stake, and it's not the first tournament to have that much money here. So if there's that much money and you can cheat, you might cheat. And it turns out they do.
Might.
Yes. Well. Would you? I mean, I would say to anybody, like, if you have like a 3 or 4 year prime, maybe at most, and you have the opportunity to win like $50,000, $100,000, and all you have to do is install some software on your computer and be a little bit dishonest in a tournament, you know, are you going to turn down $50K because you want to maintain competitive integrity?
Are you? It's just, I have to leave now. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, obviously, I think this is really shocking. We were actually talking about this before the show. There's only one sport in which I feel like cheating is okay, and that's MMA. You can eat as much drugs as you want.
Superheroes battling it out.
Beat the crap out of each other.
If you're going to do that, it may as well be mutants. Just
right?
like
I would be happy
Cyborgs,
with that.
let's go all the way.
It's like X-Men, you know?
Yeah.
Just do it. Yeah. I want the Beast in there.
But getting back to the Counter-Strike cheating scandal, we probably should. So this all started because of a semi-pro player getting caught.
Yeah, SMN, a German player who is, you know, kind of a pro, kind of not. He got caught playing a pickup game on the ESEA client. They have their own anti-cheat, which is very specific. This is also the client that was caught mining bitcoins on people's computers some time ago. But now it's doing positive work. It's helping us catch professional cheaters.
It's been reformed.
Yeah, so Valve went to ESEA and was like, so how'd you catch this guy? And they kind of had a conversation. Well, they did have a conversation. They used that information then to catch these two French players who are at the top of the game, especially Kaylee playing for Titan, you know, a top 5 team in the world maybe. So this is a big deal, and the rabbit hole goes much deeper than this. Like, there are other players out there who did this kind of thing. We don't know exactly who, and we don't know exactly when they did it. It's a problem because it raises questions about the competitive integrity of the entire game. Why watch a $250,000 tournament if you have strong suspicions that, you know, a third of the teams, half the teams, even one of the teams is cheating? Yeah, there's no reason to watch. If you know who's going to win, or if the teams are just cheating to each other, there's no reason to watch the game.
Especially because with like gaming cheating, it's literally like takes over. Like they're not even really playing at that point.
Yeah, it's really specific now. Like the way you hide it in person, because people used to think that playing a live event was like a sacred ground, especially in Counter-Strike. Like that's where you prove what you can really do. You know, not the online bullshit. But now, I mean, you press one key and you just like have a slight adjustment to go where the guy's head is. So if you're good at covering it up, you know, it's not that hard to hide it. It's really not hard to hide it at all. And even if you're watching someone play over their shoulder, they can potentially hide something like this.
Wow.
Now we've seen a lot of attention given to, like, Flusher, for example, a player from Fnatic, which is, you know, the best team in the world today, over some clips he has from play in the past, some very questionable plays. His coach said to defend him. Other professional players have called him out over social media. You know, it's funny that the attention is being given to him now because these clips have existed for some time. But now that we've all realized that, well, playing in a live setting doesn't necessarily mean you can't cheat.
When they're being viewed through that filter, and now there's scrutiny of it.
Yeah, but what a bummer. I mean, if you get like a sick headshot, it's like, well, he might be cheating. Like now there's no like, it's got this taint to it.
Well, I don't think it's quite like that. That is a reasonable point. Like you do wonder when someone makes a great play. I think it's more strange plays that aren't so easily explained. Like a guy who, you know, he takes someone down and then his crosshair just snaps to someone else's head behind a layer of smoke for no reason, and then he wildly turns his crosshair away, like, oh, I'm not supposed to look over there. I accidentally let that happen. Stuff like that, which is very kind of funky looking, and you have multiple instances of that happening with one player, and it's hard not to ask those questions, you know. And then his coach Devilwalk says, well, if you play this many matches, if you play this much time, you're going to have stuff like that well, why aren't other pro players having the same questions brought up? I'm not accusing this guy directly because we don't know. We don't know who has or who's not.
That's what's happening.
But this is a thing now where you're going to have these accusations, and with reason, because obviously we don't know who is legit and who is not. I will say that we probably won't see any cheaters at this week's DreamHack Winter competition, the one we just talked about, because if you have the balls to cheat this weekend after all this stuff's been happening for the past week, I mean, maybe you deserve to do so.
Just give them the money, guys.
I'm impressed. I'm not even angry,
Yeah.
What about the reaction of the players who were disqualified? I know that I read a quote from one of the players who has been banned and dropped from his team that said, because of this bullshit, my career is over, like on himself, and he seemed very remorseful. But what about the people who those two teams don't get to compete anymore, and they just missed out on all that money?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate for them, but do they know? Do they not know? We don't know what they know. It's even worse, though, for players who competed against them, because if you're a professional player who's been playing against Kaylee, for example, for the past year or so at big tournaments, how do you know that you didn't lose out on $50,000, not just playing against him, playing against others who might also have cheated? Yeah. So, these are guys' livelihoods. I mean, that's a life-changing amount of money that they could have lost out on because someone was cheating, we didn't know about it. So if anyone's going to feel bad about someone who cheated because, oh, I like this guy and maybe he just did it once, feel bad for the guys who play legit and lost out on tens of thousands of dollars, a life-changing amount of money, because they were potentially playing against cheating opponents.
Yeah. Sponsorship deals are usually considered a good thing, but there are exceptions. Such was the case for Team Coast Hearthstone players. Each of the 4 players carrying the Team Coast banner decided to leave the team after Team Coast announced a sponsorship deal with the streaming platform Azubu, a direct competitor with the more popular Twitch. Jared, why would players leave a team after getting a sponsorship deal?
Well, Twitch is really popular, and Azubu is less popular. And Azubu pays people to come and stream on them because they're less popular, so they know they have to give people money just to come stream on their channels, which is okay unless you're a player who depends on Twitch for their livelihood and needs the popularity of Twitch to support them financially. If you go to Azubu, you might not get that. That's what's happening here. These players did not think it was worth the money given up front.
Like the risk of being kind of like an early adopter of it.
Yeah, and it's the thing where as you have more money in esports in general, you're going to have more networks, let's say, because Twitch and Azubu and MLG.TV, they're essentially playing the role that cable networks play in sports like football and hockey. Different competitions are found in different networks, and you're going to see the same thing here. Call of Duty is found on MLG.TV. That's just one case, but I think you're going to see more splits like that in the future. And you're going to have players who prefer to stay with one organization or the other because that organization has a deal with this platform or the other. It's the EG players had some problems where they had to stream on Twitch instead of MLG.TV, even though all the Call of Duty fans are on MLG.TV. So we're going to see more of this kind of thing in the future.
Okay.
The role of coaches in League of Legends is about to expand. Developer Riot has announced that they will provide each League Championship Series team with $25,000 per season of play to pay the salaries of team coaches. Those coaches will also be allowed increased communication with players, meaning we'll see more coaches, and those coaches will be playing a bigger role. So what's the biggest effect we should expect to see from this change?
Increased professionalism, and in a good way. You have better coaching, you have more coaching. Coaching is already a big thing in Korea and China and most of the Asian scenes for League of Legends. So now you bring that same expertise, that same guidance to Europe, to North America, and the expectation is you raise the level of play in those regions. So it's an all-around good thing because it betters the play at the highest level of competition when we have teams from different regions coming together, and it betters the play in domestic regions in North America and Europe. So it's a great thing. Good job. Give money to coaches.
Well, we talked before about a coach who was banned as a player, and then Riot extended his ban to him as a coach. Do you think that this was like a preemptive move to this kind of thing where they're going to expand their role?
It might have been, if you want to give them credit for thinking that far in advance, which we may or may not. I mean, I'm sure they had plans to add coaches at some point in the LCS, as they've done here. I don't know that was necessarily about this. I think it was more about the fact they wanted him gone, and then he kind of circumvented that by becoming a coach, so they wanted him to stay gone. But here, I think this is just trying to better the competitive game, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Well, there was a big controversy on Twitter over the weekend. Ukrainian StarCraft 2 player Mihailo Kaz-Heda, a proven player with solid results in European competition, was set to play Swedish player Madeleine Madalisk Leander. Leander is one of the few women playing at top level of StarCraft 2 today and was the only woman participating in the tournament with Heda. Leading up to the match, Heda took to Twitter to declare that he was, quote, going to rape some girl soon. Heda was soon disqualified from the tournament and offered an apology for doing stupid tweets. But the issue didn't go away, and some players even came to Kaz's defense. So let's talk about this. Like, why would he do this?
Well, he's...
Other than to be just the stupidest person in the world.
Yes, it's not a very smart tweet to send out to the world. Like,
Yeah.
you're not just talking shit to someone across a table when you're playing a game. You know, that's a little bit more excusable, I think. You're tweeting this out
Still
to
not
the
okay,
world.
but you're not going to like project it to the entire world.
Yeah, at least you can think, well, he didn't think about it. You know, he was just talking shit in the heat of the moment or whatever. He just tweeted this like he wasn't in the heat of any moment. He just thought this was a funny joke, I guess.
Right.
Or just good shit talking. I don't know exactly what he thought. I'm not in his head.
It wasn't even like he tagged the girl in it. Like, it wasn't even like it was an intimidation tactic. It was just a dumb tweet.
Just so you guys know, this is what's going to happen. Like,
Yeah, heads up, everyone.
He's being informative.
Yeah, I mean, and you can assume context because he's a StarCraft 2 player going to play a girl, but I mean, you don't know the context.
He had a hashtag in the tweet as
Fragbite
well.
Masters.
Yeah, I mean, it's still just that, you know, even with the assumed context, it's a weird thing to just see cop on your Twitter feed, like, oh, that's what someone said.
Right.
You know, and just because he wasn't trying to intimidate the girl necessarily doesn't mean she was not intimidated, you know.
Right.
She did, you know, it's been reported, she did feel bad about this.
Yeah, she said it was scary.
Yes, as you might imagine, and someone who doesn't think like she's justified in feeling scared about that, well, you know, are you a woman? You know, do you have the context of what it is to have sexual assault be a bigger issue for you because of your identity than it is for this guy? Excuse me. So there's a lot of layers.
I think there were a lot.
What's even dumber to me is either just as dumb is that people are defending him. Like, no, don't defend that. That should just be said. No, don't do that.
That's the thing is like he even came out and said like, shit, that was dumb.
Yeah.
Sorry. But a lot of people are saying, we all know what he meant. So there's the context argument. But then a lot of people also came out and said, well, she's only complaining because she lost. But she didn't even complain. The organizers saw it while they were playing. She hadn't even seen the tweet yet.
Yeah.
It's not like she lost and then was like, I saw this tweet, so he has to go away. That didn't happen.
Yeah, and there were players calling her a crybaby and saying, you know, what's your problem? Like goading, I don't even know, you know, getting this guy to say that he's going to rape you. You know, why would you do that? It's a little bit absurd. And, you know, as far as the context goes, you can't assume like other people are going to take something you say the way that you intend it to be.
We've covered this before. Actually, somebody brought up in the comments of the video that I did for the No about it was that we saw that someone tweeted that they were going to kill Gabe Newell. Like, and he was like, well, I clearly wasn't going to. But we can't tweet things or treat things like, well, of course they don't mean that. Like, you can't do that.
It would be a great world if we all could broadcast our intent truthfully without any issue at all. Unfortunately, you cannot always communicate your exact intent, so we instead have to be considerate to how other people feel about things.
Use other words.
Yes, or we can just use other words.
He could have tweeted, I'm about to friggin' ride on this bitch. And I'd have been like, yeah, all right.
It's still,
Just to make this hoe, that's fine. Right? Maybe not the best thing you can tweet.
Keep going, man. You got more?
Yes. Let's get a full scale. Here's rape, here's decimate hoe, here's...
Right. It would still be a dumb tweet, but it's not, like, that is such a level.
Yeah, there's a new level.
To take it to.
Yeah, I offered that he could, like, say he's going to beat her, and someone was like, well, you know, do you mean literally beat? That could be bad too. It's like, use some common sense.
Yes.
Obviously, in like modern society, if you say you're going to rape someone, that carries a very negative connotation.
I'm going to fiercely compete with this fellow player.
Yeah. Well, that could be taken the wrong way, John.
Why
What sort of context?
Yeah. Why so competitive, John? God. So it's, I don't know. Again, I think it's just a common sense thing. Obviously, this carries a very negative context, and with good reason, and some thinking about it, you know.
There are consequences. You have to think about the consequences of your actions.
He's going to pay for them.
And again, like if someone wants to say this to their buddy, you know, in the back hall of the pool hall, you know, where they're playing backgammon, the back hall of the pool hall. I like back halls and back rooms.
Is that where you hang out? Do you hang out in the back hall of the pool hall?
No, I hang out
in the front. They can hear you because the door's up there. But in the back,
at the backgammon tables. That's where I hang out. With all my cronies. That's what I call them.
My cronies.
Yes, me and my backgammon playing cronies hang out at the tables.
We're learning so much.
But that's the thing. Is like, again, you're right that you like saying something to a friend or whatever is one thing, but tweeting, especially if you're a professional player, tweeting something has a connotation and has a context. Consequences.
Yeah, and again, just being
Other
considerate.
A lot of C words.
Just being considerate. Hey, we're really good at C words.
Other C words.
Considerate.
Takes one to know one.
Considerate's a good C word. I mean, I said stuff when I was a teenager that I wouldn't say now. And then I got older and decided, you know what? Someone might not like me saying that. And I don't have like reason to say that. It doesn't affect me to not say something that's going to make them upset. So why would I say that? Just to be an asshole? Just to prove that I'm capable of saying whatever the hell I want to say? Because it's my goddamn free speech right to say whatever. You know, just be considerate. It's not that, you know, put that in the in the Bill of Rights. Being considerate.
The right to be considerate.
Yeah, the right to bear considerateness.
Consideration.
No, considerateness. No, considerateness.
Whoa, don't tread on me.
Don't tread on that.
Well, that's it for the leaderboard this week. Join Meg and Ashley for the Know It All on Friday on the Rooster Teeth channel, where they'll bring you the biggest news stories of the week in one shot.
In the meantime, for more gaming and entertainment news, make sure you click like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for more from the leaderboard. GG, kids.